Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the European crossover webinar. And we're just getting in data here. We had the Italian retail sales coming in here. We do have employment or fall employment, but that doesn't come to the next top of the hour here. Let's see. Still haven't seen that Italian. I'm going to do something by then. Okay. Okay, so this came in down 0.5%. But anyway, let's go on and move back in. We're seeing the euro move up a little bit higher. I mean, we had taken a dip after we had rally, and we expect most of the session into Asia just relatively quiet here. We're kind of making another move back here, and the euro currently up now at 1047. Dollar index, we had rallied right into that 98.40 and pushed just a hair above that and just pulled back. Same thing a little bit here, and dollar yen still holding around this 107 area. Things have been relatively quiet ahead of non-farm payroll today, which is the big report here. Let's actually pull that back in. So we can take a look at that. So going into non-farm payroll today, which is 8:30 Eastern. Got 7:30 because I'm here on Central Time. But bear with me. So looking for Reuters poll of 158,000. Average hourly earnings, 0.3. And we do have Canadian unemployment. They're looking for 15,000. And later on, we do have IBPMI. But headline number, they can be looking at 158. And of course, average hourly earnings, 0.3. That's always a little bit of a driver. I don't think it's as important now unless we saw a big jump, like let's say 0.4. Certainly, let's say not take away, but solidify that they'd only be getting a quarter point cut. Everybody pretty much has factored in that there'll be a cut, but after data yesterday, no one's necessarily looking for a half-point cut anymore. And let's just take a quick look at the news. Dollar steadies as risk-on mood holds ahead of U.S. jobs data. Upbeat U.S. economic data gave the dollar an edge over its peers on Friday, arresting a recent flight from the greenback while also supporting Asian currencies as investors toned down the recent gloom over the global economy. Separate surveys suggested the world's largest economy is in better shape than investors had feared. U.S. service sector activity accelerated in August, and private employers boosted hiring beyond expectations. We saw that with ADP. It contributed to a broad risk-on shift in currency, bond, and stock markets, stoked by news that China and U.S. trade talks would resume next month. The data kept the dollar steady against most major currencies, while investors waited for a monthly payrolls report due at 12:30 GMT. So the next snapshot into the labor market's health. Investors are now hoping they can take this week's positivity over the finishing line. So fingers crossed, the August U.S. payrolls data report doesn't throw a damp towel on the proceedings, said Stephen Innes. Optimism of the past few days bolstered the South Korean won and Australia dollar, New Zealand dollars. It set it up on course for their sharpest weekly gain since June, each adding more than a percentage point against the dollar. The pound has had its best week since May, adding almost 1.25% on the dollar as Parliament appeared to pull Britain back from the brink of a no-deal exit from the European Union by voting to delay leaving. Sterling was flat at 23.28. The Australian dollar held close to month high, struck on Thursday at 68.17. The won touched the month high. Against the basket currencies, the dollar index was flat at 98.38. Safe haven yen, which is sold to a 1 month low of 7.22 per dollar on Thursday, bounced a little to 6.99. Meanwhile, the U.S. non-farm payrolls data due later on Friday is expected to show an increase of 158,000. Unemployment rate heading steady at 3.7%. Other factors supporting the market's risk appetite are already wavering. Hong Kong leader Carrie Lam's withdrawal of the extradition bill that sparked the city's summer of protests does not seem to have appeased demonstrators, because I know they were looking for 5 different in total demands. So this is one that had to be done no matter what. So they've got some other ones besides that. And it says in Britain, Prime Minister Boris Johnson's plan to kick off what is in effect an election and a Brexit campaign was immediately overshadowed. On Tuesday, when his younger brother quit the government, and these moves may prove to be short-term, rather the start of a fresh cycle in regards to the Chinese yuan, says Nick Tordale, director of City Brokerage Exchange. Both the major geopolitical issues that seem to have turned over the last few days have a large degree of uncertainty associated with them over the medium, let alone the long term, referring to the Brexit and U.S.-China trade talks. We've seen a lot of activity in the frequent flyer accounts of both the Chinese and U.S. trade data negotiations before, which has resulted in little way in the way of progress. So let's go move into the charts, and we'll go in and take a look at the bias chart and setup for today. And there's a 1075 here with the euro on the daily. How far can we push it a little bit higher? We had a pretty nice little run, but the euro is still set up to try and push higher. I think we have to go and take a little bit closer look with the 2-hour chart. This is a level that I was looking at potentially we could get up to yesterday, I thought, and that's going to be 1093. We're going to see if we can't give it a little bit of an extra boost here, but that would take it up to 1093. I'm still going to keep the lead. This is bearish. To me, the euro still hasn't settled anything yet. You get above here, and this 1050 area on a day, on a close, then we'll talk. But at this point, euro is still bearish. in my books. And let's go on. There we go. And as far as support, we're going to go and keep the support here, 1006. We can still get a slide down here. And let's take a look here with cable. I'm surprised. I mean, the potential was we could still move higher in cable. We've actually paired back here. You can see here, we're holding up close. We actually made a run up in here just recently. Popped up to what, 23.43. We're pairing back in here. Let's move into the 2-hour chart here also. Come back into that 23 area. If we do get this to pop, that's where I think we'll go to if they goose some stops. It's going to be right there at 23.86. I'm going to give it some room just in case. And support. Right there, 22.54. And move into the Aussie dollar. Finally, we've seen some life kick into this Aussie dollar. It looks like we just made that run up here to that resistance level we've been talking about. You can see that 68.34, we just nicked it, which confluences with 68.32 to 38%. That is going to be, let's say that's going to be resistance, but let's say the job report came in a little bit lean. We could jump up and let's just give it a little bit room here. right there, 68.43 for today. I mean, this is key resistance here, and that was our buy chart resistance confluencing with the 38%, the 68.34. We just nicked it to the pip, but we're only off just a hair. But we're going to go right there. It's going to be 68.44. Now we have definitely come up here, but once again, give us a close above 68.34, and then we'll talk about bullish. So yeah, I mean, relatively speaking, we certainly have rallied, but I mean, look how far this thing has fallen. You see what I'm saying? I'm not going to call this bullish until we get a daily close above that. Once again, we do look at this short term, but our bias is for the overall picture, and no one's going to say that the euro is bullish in any respect whatsoever. Even if it's just starting to turn things around, give us a daily close above 1053, and then we'll talk some Turkey. But until then, no. And same thing with the Aussie. Things have turned around, but look how far it's been down. So you get above 68.34, and then we talk about this thing turn to bullish. As far as support, give me 67.74. Let's move into the QA. Well, we have made it above the 63.89, which is huge because that's a big level going back. I was going to say right here, which is essentially a weekly level. Look at that. Look how far that. Look how huge that 63.89 is. Just huge. Out there, and I was actually looking right here on the base to hold, but the 63.89 goes back quite a ways. See right there. Look at that, going back to 2015 to 63.89. They did a good job holding the 62 cents. But you can see how important that 63.89 is. There's resistance right there, 64.16. 64.16, right there. Come across. Called 64.15. 16. Okay. Okay, so support's going to be 63.53. 63.53. Call it 63.54. And let's go into dollar CAD. Well, the fortunes have really turned around for the dollar CAD. I know people were looking for this thing to go much higher. And it looked like he's going to try. And earlier in the week, look how things have changed. When I say the fortunes have changed, certainly they have changed. And we talked about this 3382, and then the data came out, changing things around, and boy, did it change it. And then now there are comments from out of Bank of Canada, and really it looked like it appears that this pair wants to go and move lower. And I know some people know, like FX Macro, they're looking for a much lower move, or is looking for a much lower move. And certainly we've fallen in the dirt and we can't get up at all. So resistance is going to be right there at 32.36. 32.36. I'll tell you what, because we do have Canadian employment data, although you would probably think that that's going to come in much better also. But this was at 32.46. I was to say from the daily 32.36, but this was yesterday's bias chart resistance, and that kept this market in check right to the pip. So that's going to be a resistance 32.46. See that we had that yesterday, and that held it to the pip. Support. Let's go with this 61%, which is going to be 31.56. The peso, we did get down to that 1967 we were talking about. We actually went a little bit lower here. Well, look, we tagged at that 1960. We've been looking potentially for a move to 1967 at the beginning of the week. We actually went below it. We're kind of holding right there. You can see that right there. We're looking for that. We had quite the pair back. I mean, because remember, we finished the week at 20.05. And we're looking for a move to 1985, potentially 1967. Overshot a little bit. We're holding at 1967. Let's take a look at a fib here. $19.56 would be the 50%. We've already made a rundown here in 1960, or just about. tell you what, they want to try and milk it. We'll go right there. Caught 1957. We've already had a pretty good sell-off. And on the upside, we're going to stay with this, the 1978.5. Caught 1978.6. And this one has turned around. Although it still has a bullish bent, I'm saying is to turn this truly to bearish. On a short-term basis now, we've really seen a good fall down here. But it's still bullish because remember, that was that big breakout. And once we got above 1923.6, remember this here? Look at that. That was just a huge area. So when you look at that and say, well, wait a minute, yeah, it's still bullish. We have to just get a daily close below this 1960 to turn this thing straight on bearish. On a short-term basis, yeah, it's definitely been bearish. But when you look at the overall context of this thing, so, you know, really, if we make a move down to 1957, if someone's short, it'll definitely be covered. Look, a lot of good volume in this area also. And let's move into the dollar yen. Now, I thought there was a chance that we could have pushed up to 728. I grabbed a minor scalp short. You know, despite making money yesterday, I tell you what, it felt like I lost money. That's the way I felt. I guess I got wrong-footed or something like that. And I also got a little bit greedy on this euro too. Maybe not greedy, but I thought there was a chance we were going to push even higher. Even though this is my area to get in short, our buy chart resistance was 1067, and I was like, you know, look at my chops if we made it up here. Then we get up here and thinking, oh well, it might even push more, and got a little bit greedy. And then, I mean, I caught a little bit here, a little bit at the end. But to be honest with you, with all the good movers, I know Stelios did fantastic with even him scalping silver and Chi grabbing. I think he grabbed 25 cents in silver, and I haven't traded silver in years. But I mean, there was some good momentum moves, and despite making money, yesterday was not a good day. Despite making money, because I just did not, you know, take advantage of some of these moves, and this was regrettable here. Although I jumped in and scalped a little bit here, but you know, left the day with a bad taste in my mouth. Got to admit that. But I am happy for those that did very well in the chat room. But like I said, despite making money, it sure didn't seem like a good day for me. So looking here at the dollar yen, speaking of which, see the 746 is going to be the 61%. We're going to use that as a bias chart resistance for today. So let's mark this off. Mm, 751. So it's going to be 751 if we get that jump up in there. So that would be a buy chart resistance. With support coming in at 648. Let's move into the cash dollar index. Let's take a look at here on the 2-hour. Well, I talked about this, posted this chart ad nauseum in the chat room multiple times, as I said ad nauseum, about this 9814. Now, it looked like it might break, and I thought, hey, the reason I like this 9814 because you can see all the volume here in the touches. And I thought that if it broke, you still had the 9802 behind you, which is a 38% of this entire move down here, 95.85 all the way up. So I thought this was a pretty good area. And if you did get that overshoot, let's say you still were in pretty good shape, I thought let the market settle itself. And I thought this might have happened with the dollar, euro dollar, maybe popping up to 11.15 or something. But you knew that you had a lot of good backing, and you probably popped back up. But this area did end up holding rather well, actually. Um, Resistance now is going to be right there, 98.63. We had yesterday's bias chart support at 98.14. Um, we're going to move just right there. Well, now 97.89 is a pretty good overshoot. The dollar would have to come pretty well unglued. I don't think that's going to be the case. Um, go right there with 97.93. Let's see. And let's go into the cross rates. We're seeing a nice rally here in the QEM. And certainly got above his buy chart as quiet as it's been. Um, let's go and take a look here on the 2-hour chart. How much further can it push? Some good volume coming in here. 68.88. 68.88. Well, this is a good area, but we've done so much work here that the wheels, depending on how tight this range has been, and we're just now starting to move higher. And look how tight this range is right here, and even here. The wheels really have to fall off the caboose to come back down at this low. So we're just going to move this up a little bit higher, and it's going to be right there, 67.72. And take a look here with the euro yen. I'm going to give it the little bit benefit of the doubt. In case we see the yen weaken, I'm going to go right there, 1852. Things are turning around, but this thing is still woefully bearish. I mean, you're not going to change that. And I mean, we're not looking with the weekly buys, but come on, that thing is not, I don't care how you slice it and dice it. That thing is not bullish by any stretch of the imagination. So that's why it's still bearish. You secure yourself a daily close above this level, 1856, then we can, like I've said earlier, then we'll talk Turkey. This thing is not bullish in any stretch of the imagination. It's just, I've fallen, but I can't get up. And she's just actually now, about her elbows underneath her, about it, essentially is it. So why this is still going to remain bearish. Support is going to be right there, 1768. Right now, 1768. I'm just changing the coloring on this. That's going to be right there, 1760. Let's pull this in a little closer. 1767. And this euro rod, it's pretty much in the dirt. $61.50 is a nice little level right in there. Let's call that 61.47. Right there, 61.47. And resistance right now is going to be 62.03. I don't know why I have this thing bullish. Oh, yeah, we have. It's actually gone below. This is it's in jeopardy of now turning this thing into bearish. Now we have broken even below this level, so that is definitely bearish. Let's go to Euro Kiwi. Well, we just about made it down here to this key level here, which is going to be the 72.12. I should find a lot of demand there. If nothing else, just plain old short cover. Go to 72.10. We've got 72.09. That's just fine. Call that 72.92. $72.92 right there. Let's go move into the Aussie. Well, we finally saw some life in the Aussie, and still continue to push higher. Move into the daily for a little bit of perspective. This thing's still got a ways to go if things are to turn around. Let's take a look at a fib here. $73.86 would be the 61%. This thing can still turn around. Let's take a look at another fib right here. Hmm. 73, 74 would be the 127% extension, confluencing with that 73.86. Things really have to turn around here for it. And it hasn't, I mean, we're definitely moving higher. Potentially, if you were going with that breakout, that's what you'd be looking at initially. But don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves. Right there. See right here? 73.34. Called 73.34. Support is just a hair below that, 72.53. Right there, 72.53. Now let's go move into the guppy. We made it up to the 127% extension, so nice move here on the guppy, and just above even the bias chart resistance. But we're easing back here. Like I said, to be honest with you, I thought Sterling might even push higher. We're not falling apart. We are sliding back from those levels. Thought they might have had some people spooked into covering some of those shorts. As I said a couple of days ago, those with deep pockets, I think they were okay. But in the meantime, I thought some of the smaller traders might be forced to cover. They did, but it could have pushed it. It could have been, it hasn't, the week hasn't ended, but it could have been even more so. So, but Guppy certainly made it up here to 127% extension. So it had a pretty good little stretch here. Resistance. Oh yeah, look at that. See those touches right there? And that's actually where just about where we ran out of gas. Of course, with the yen, if we do see the yen weaken a little bit further, we're just going to give it just a little bit extra room, just a little bit in case it stretches. And I think that'd probably be a great area if you got long, and some people might grab in and take a short. That'll be 32.42. If we do see the yen continue to weaken, that'll be a little bit of stretch there, though. Support. Go right there, 3101, 3101. And lastly, with the sterling odd. This one had a nice little run up here. He came into this volume area. You see all these touches coming across. So we made it to the 181. A nice run up here. We've already had a pretty good run in odd. Let's give it the benefit of the doubt. It can hold. And that's going to be 79.64. And resistance, we're going to keep the resistance the same as it was previously, even though we did overshoot it. But this will be, well, the same as it was. It's that level there, which is 80.55. Hang on a moment. There we go. Well, root back in here. This is a good area here. I like this 1508. Actually, almost came down here in the 1505 yesterday. Let's move this into the 2-hour chart. $14.95, good solid support at $14.95. We may push it a little bit further. We'll see. Obviously, if we get good data, Look for this 14.95 on the gold. Actually, even the stretch down here, 14.85, but initially some good volume coming in at 14. It's going to be 14.94 on the spot, 14.94. If we push it, but we've already gone and taken these push up. Although if you're looking for a move lower, those traders are looking for a swing trade. Yeah, we could go in and definitely still go and push. Now, as far as silver, here's this zone here that we actually made it into this 1850 that the Scully was looking at. The bottom of this zone comes in right there at 1812. This is the area where when we initially broke it here, I put this level here because I said if we get a daily close below 1812, I think it was actually a 2-hour close below 1812, it was going to turn the market lower. We made a cut. You can see we made 3 different stabs, but we never secured a 2-hour close below 1812. 1812 is going to be that support right now for the silver. 1812, very key on 2 hour. Well, key in the sense that it needs to close above 1812. We can make these stabs, but 1812 is probably where you see some decent value come in. Taking a look here with the bund. Good value comes in right there at 76.96. Already had a pretty good fall here. I know that Steve was short. Going back into the main screen. And obviously, like I said, the dollar index ended up holding that 98.14 area. So let's see where we go from here. And good luck trading for everyone as we get into NFP. Here's the bias chart. I'll get that posted. Have a good day trading. And thanks for joining us here on the European Crossover.